We often think of artificial intelligence as just the next tech upgrade, don't we? It's sort of like moving from a typewriter to a computer, or, I don't know, from dial-up to broadband. It feels like a convenience.
A better tool.
A better tool, exactly. A faster computer, a smarter chatbot that can write your emails or summarize your meetings. It feels inevitable, but, essentially harmless.
Yeah.
But then you open the economic survey 2025-26, and right there on the first page of Chapter 14, it just drops this massive reality check.
It really does.
It stops being about convenience and starts being about survival.
It's a wake-up call.
Yeah.
The survey, it explicitly states that AI isn't just a tool, it is a strategic choice for India's economic future.
That is the phrase that just stuck with me, strategic choice. It feels like we're standing at a fork in the road.
What absolutely are.
And it's about whether we become the world's back office for AI. Just doing the grunt work, labeling data, watching the revolution happen from the sideline.
If we step up.
Or whether we become the front office of innovation. And the survey warns, if we get this wrong, we risk hollowing out our entire IT sector. But if we get it right,
the upside is huge.
We could solve problems in healthcare and agriculture that have plagued us for decades.
The stakes literally couldn't be higher. It's the difference between, obsolescence and leadership.
Welcome back, everyone, to Simplified UPSC by PPP. We're so glad to have you here. Today, we are doing a serious, really comprehensive deep dive into Chapter 14 of the Economic Survey 2025-26.
The title of the chapter is Evolution of the AI Ecosystem in India, The Way Forward.
And for the serious aspirants listening to this, you need to know this chapter is an absolute goldmine.
It really is. It connects technology to the economy, to geography, governance, everything.
Absolutely. And speaking of aspirants, you want to pay close attention because we are going to be explicitly linking this content to previous year questions or PYQs.
Right.
We aren't just summarizing, we're trying to show you exactly how to map this policy data into your mains answers, to get those extra marks.
And that linkage is key. Understanding the theory is one thing, but applying it to a question about industrial location or, say, ethics is where the score really comes from.
Okay, before we jump headfirst into this massive topic, I just have a humble request. Producing these deep analyses, it takes a lot of time and resources. So if you find value in this deep dive, if it helps you understand the economy better or saves you hours of reading, please consider subscribing and joining our paid membership on YouTube if you're capable.
Your support really does allow us to keep creating this super useful content.
It absolutely does.
And on that note, a massive, massive shout out to all of our existing members. We see you and we appreciate you so much.
We really do. Please like this episode and leave your valuable comments below. We genuinely love reading them and seeing what you think.
Yeah, the conversations in the comments are fantastic.
Also, a quick resource alert. The free notes for this entire session, including the practice PYQs we're about to discuss, are available right now on our Telegram channel. The link is in the description.
And for our legend-level YouTube members, just a reminder to join the Discord channel. That's where you'll find the premium notes, extra PYQs, and this is crucial, the model mains answers for the questions we touch on today.
Those model answers are so vital for understanding how to structure your thoughts under that time pressure in the exam hall.
Absolutely. Definitely check those out.
Okay, let's unpack this thing. We're starting with Section 1, the context AI in India's economic landscape. So the survey seems to suggest that the whole vibe around AI has changed, and changed significantly.
Right.
If you think back to early 2025, the conversation was, well, it was dominated by hype, wasn't it?
Completely. It was all, look what this image generator can do, or look how funny this chatbot is.
Exactly. But reading through sections 14.1 to 14.6, it feels heavier now, more serious. What shifted?
The conversation shifted from, let's say, limitless potential to hard economic reality. The survey makes a very, very sharp distinction between adopting AI and creating it.
Okay, break that down for us. Adopting versus creating.
See, adoption is widespread. It's easy. Everyone uses ChatGPT. Your grandmother might be using AI features on her phone without even knowing it.
Right.
But the frontier of AI, building those massive foundation models, the actual brains behind the whole operation, that is becoming an incredibly exclusive club.
When you say exclusive, you mean expensive.
Prohibitively so. It's what the survey claims the concentration problem. Building these frontier models requires massive capital, incredible computing power, we call compute, and just enormous amounts of energy.
We're not talking small numbers here.
We are talking billions of dollars for a single training run of a model. billions. This means the capability to build the brain is concentrating in the hands of a very few massive corporations, and they're mostly in the US and China.
So it's becoming a rich man's game, a rich country's game. And if you aren't in that club, you're basically just a customer.
You're just a customer, exactly. And for India, the anxiety isn't just about, missing out on the glory or the prestige. It's specifically about the labor market. The survey points out a fascinating and, frankly, a pretty worrying finding. It's regarding the labor intensity of output.
Let's break that down. Labor intensity of output. What does that mean in plain English for everyone listening?
It's an economic metric, and it measures the relationship between growth and jobs. Basically, for every unit of growth in the economy, every extra dollar or rupee of value we produce, how many new jobs do we create?
Right.
Historically, in a developing economy like ours, as you grow, you hire more people. That's the deal. But the survey finds that post-2022, this relationship has weakened. The labor intensity has marginally declined.
So just to be clear, we are producing more, the economy is getting bigger, but we aren't necessarily hiring as many people to do it. Is that right?
That's the trend. Now, let's be very clear, and the survey is careful about this. This isn't evidence of mass automation yet.
Okay.
Robots aren't walking into offices and firing people today, but the elasticity is changing. The connection, that crucial link between economic growth and job creation, is getting stretched thin.
That is a scary thought for a country with our population. We have this demographic dividend we always talk about. We need those jobs.
They absolutely do.
And that brings us to the strategic risks detailed in sections 14.7 to 14.9. This survey mentions a threat of hollowing out.
This is that back office fear we touched on right at the start.
Right.
Think about India's economic story for the last 30 years. What was our value proposition to the world? It was our IT sector.
Of course.
We were the back office. We handled the business processes, the coding, the customer support, the maintenance. We were the engine room.
The engine room. I like that.
Exactly. But AI is attacking exactly those tasks. AI is getting very, very good at writing basic code. It's getting very good at customer support. It's getting very good at data processing.
So if the control over that AI sits in Silicon Valley, and that AI can do the job cheaper and faster than a human in Bangalore, what happens to our IT sector?
The global firms that outsource to India might simply stop. They won't need the body shopping model anymore. Why hire a team of 20 when you can just buy more compute power?
That is the hollowing out thread. If we don't adapt, our IT sector could turn into a rust belt.
That is the fear.
Yeah.
And that leads to the core question of the whole chapter. Will India remain a consumer of AI, just paying subscription fees to foreign companies, or will we become a contributor and a creator?
It's about owning the means of production in a digital sense.
Precisely. And for our UPSC listeners, this connects beautifully to a geography concept. Think back to the 2020 GS1 paper, specifically questions 7 and question 10. Those questions asked about the factors responsible for the location of industries. Question 7 asked why the iron and steel industry shifted away from raw material sources.
Right, I remember that. Historically, based on Weber's theory, you built the steel plant right next to the iron mine.
Because iron ore is heavy.
It's heavy and expensive to transport. You go to the raw material. But then technology changed, transport got cheaper, and the industry moved to coastal locations for easier export.
Exactly. Now, apply that same logic to the digital economy. What is the raw material of AI?
Data.
Data and compute.
Data and compute.
Right. Just as iron ore dictated the location of steel plants in the 19th century, data centers and computing power dictate the location of the AI industry today.
That's a powerful parallel.
It is. If we don't have the compute infrastructure here, and if we don't have the data governance frameworks here, the industry moves elsewhere. It moves to where the servers are.
Data and compute are the new iron and coal.
Yes. The survey is essentially warning us that we cannot let our entire IT sector become irrelevant because we failed to control the location factors of this new economy.
This transitions us perfectly to Section 2, Asymmetries and Trade-offs. This part of the chapter, covering paragraphs 14.11 to 14.16, it really feels like the why behind the whole strategy. Because a lot of people ask, right, if this is so important, why doesn't the Indian government just write a check for, say, $10 billion and build an Indian GPT-5? Why don't we just copy the U.S. model?
Because of these structural imbalances. The survey calls this the frontier versus application dilemma.
Okay.
Building those frontier models, the ones that know everything about everything, the big, large language models like GPT-4 or Gemini, is prohibitively expensive. We are talking about burning cash at a rate that even wealthy nations are struggling with.
So it's not a smart use of money.
The survey explicitly argues against scale for scale's sake. It's a massive trade-off. We have limited resources. Should India burn all that scarce capital just chasing the US and China to build the biggest model purely for prestige? Or should we spend that money on using AI to solve specific Indian problems?
It's like the difference between building one Formula One car versus building a whole fleet of reliable electric buses for public transport.
That's a great analogy.
One gets you on the cover of magazines, but the other actually moves the entire population.
That's it, exactly. And the survey is clearly siding with the buses. But there's another constraint, a physical one, that people often ignore when they talk about the cloud.
Right. We think the cloud is this ethereal, invisible thing.
But it's not. It's physical. It's metal and silicon and wires. And it is incredibly hungry.
You're talking about energy.
Yes. Paragraph 1418 brings this up with a vivid image. The survey quotes Mark P. Mills, and you have to hear this. The amount of energy used to launch a rocket is consumed every day by just one AI-infused data center.
Wait, hold on. Let me just wrap my head around that.
Yeah.
Just one single data center consumes a rocket launch worth of energy daily.
Daily.
That's it.
Imagine the fuel burn of a SpaceX launch. The fire, the thrust, all of it. Now imagine that level of energy consumption happening every single day just to keep the servers running so we can generate funny cat pictures or summarize PDFs.
That is insane. And for a country like India, that has massive implications for our power grid.
Massive. The survey even cites an incident from July 2024 in Northern Virginia. Now, Northern Virginia is the data center capital of the world. Something like 70% of the world's internet traffic flows through there. The data centers there drew so much power that they almost crashed the entire regional grid. They were on the brink of a major blackout.
And we just cannot afford that. We have people who still need reliable electricity for the most basic needs: farms, homes, hospitals. We can't have ChatGPT turning off the lights in Mumbai.
You can't. Grid stability is a national security issue. But it's not just about energy. There's a financial risk, too. The survey mentions a potential AI bubble in the context of one of its source documents.
An AI bubble, like the dot-com bubble in the late 90s.
Very similar. There's a concern that these big tech companies are moving debt off their balance sheets to fund this massive infrastructure build-out.
Can you explain that? Moving debt off balance sheets? That sounds like some kind of accounting trickery.
It can be. Imagine you want to buy a really expensive house, but you already have too much debt on your personal credit card. The bank won't lend to you. So you set up a separate small company, have that company borrow the money to buy the house, and then you promise to pay rent to it. On paper, you don't look like you're in debt. But if the market crashes and you can't pay the rent, you're still on the hook.
Got it. So these tech giants are essentially hiding the true cost of this AI infrastructure build-out.
To some extent, yes. And if this AI boom doesn't deliver the massive productivity gains they've all promised, if it doesn't end up making trillions of dollars in actual real profit, we could face a financial contagion.
It's a bubble waiting to burst.
And if India is too exposed to that ecosystem, we get hurt when it pops.
So we have to be careful financially. But at the same time, we can't just close our doors and isolate ourselves completely. The survey talks about strategic autonomy versus global integration in sections 14.25 to 14.27.
This is the tightrope walk. This is the core dilemma.
It seems like it.
And look at chart 4.2 in the survey. It shows the distribution of global data centers. Over 70% of data centers are in high-income countries. Do you want to guess what percentage India has?
I'm guessing it's low, but we have such a huge digital population, so maybe 10%.
3%.
Only 3%. For a country with over 1 billion connected users.
Exactly. That is a massive, massive imbalance. It means our data, our digital lives, are mostly living on someone else's hard drive in another country.
Wow.
So the survey argues we can't be totally self-sufficient because building 100% of our own infrastructure from scratch would be inefficient and just way too expensive.
Yeah.
But we cannot be totally dependent on foreign infrastructure because that is dangerous.
Dangerous in what way?
Geopolitics. Plain and simple. If diplomatic relations sour with a country that hosts all our data, they could theoretically just turn off the tap. They could restrict our access to the models or the servers that our economy now depends on.
This connects directly to a question from the 2025 GS2 paper, doesn't it?
It does.
Question 10. With the waning of globalization, the world is becoming a site of sovereign nationalism.
That is the perfect question to apply this to. AI is the new frontier of sovereign nationalism. Every country now wants sovereign AI because they realize that relying on another country's intelligence infrastructure is a fundamental national security risk.
So the survey is essentially answering that main question.
It is. It's saying, we need a balance. We integrate where it helps us learn and grow, but we build walls and sovereign capabilities where we need to protect our strategic autonomy.
Okay, so if we can't just copy the U.S. model because it's too expensive, too energy-intensive, and strategically risky, what do we do? That brings us to Section 3, a development-oriented approach. The survey seems to suggest a bottom-up strategy. This is in paragraphs 14.31 to 14.35.
This is the Indian way. This is the core of the proposed solution.
The Indian way.
Yes. The West, as we've said, uses a top-down approach. Massive capital, a few huge firms, building these massive general-purpose models. They're trying to build a godlike intelligence that can do everything.
And India is proposing
A bottom-up approach. We focus on small models.
When you say small models, does that mean they're less capable, less powerful?
Not for their specific task. Think of it like a specialist doctor versus a general knowledge encyclopedia.
Okay, I like that.
A frontier model, like GPT-4 is the encyclopedia, it knows a little bit about everything, from Renaissance poetry to quantum physics. A small model is the specialist. It might only know about, say, rice farming in Tamil Nadu, but it knows everything about rice farming in Tamil Nadu.
And because it's smaller.
It's drastically cheaper to build and run. It uses a fraction of the energy. And crucially, it can run on a smartphone or a local server in a village clinic. It doesn't need a supercomputer in Virginia.
This is frugal innovation.
It's classic frugal innovation. Jugaad for the AI age.
That sounds very India, getting more from less.
And we have a comparative advantage here. We have diverse data that the West simply does not have.
Like what?
We have data on tropical diseases they rarely see. We have data on incredibly diverse agricultural climates, from deserts to rainforests. We have data in hundreds of languages and dialects that their big models were never trained on.
Can you give us some real-world examples from the survey? Where is this actually happening on the ground?
Absolutely. The survey highlights healthcare in a big way. In section 14.36, in South India, for example, they're using non-invasive AI-enabled thermal imaging for breast cancer screening.
Okay, how does that work differently than the standard method, a mammogram?
Well, standard mammograms can be painful. They require very expensive machines, and you need a specialist radiologist to read the film, which you just don't have in every village.
Right.
This solution uses a simple thermal camera. The AI analyzes the heat patterns in the body to detect abnormalities that could signal a tumor. It's cheap, it's portable, it doesn't require massive hospital setup, and it works in rural areas.
That's amazing.
And in East India, they're doing something very similar for oral cancer screening, using just a smartphone camera and an AI model.
That is life-saving technology that doesn't need a billion-dollar supercomputer. It just needs good, specific data and a targeted model.
Another massive example is inclusion. You have projects like Pashini and AI for Herat from IIT Madras.
Right, the language project.
They are breaking language barriers, and this isn't just about convenience, like translating a menu. This is about deep inclusion.
How so?
If a farmer in a village can speak to a government app in their local dialect, not standard Hindi, but their specific dialect, and get real-time advice on which pesticide to use for their crops, that changes the entire economy. It democratizes access to information and services.
This is a perfect answer for a mains question from 2025 GS1, isn't it?
Spot on, it's question 15.
That question asks, how can AI and drones be effectively used in locational and aerial planning?
Yes, and usually students will write these very generic answers about improving efficiency or better monitoring.
It's all very theoretical.
But if you cite these bottom-up examples, if you talk about using AI for localized health screening in East India, or using AI-powered drones for crop mapping in specific microclimates in Maharashtra, you are giving the examiner exactly what they want.
You're being specific.
You are linking technology directly to developmental planning. You aren't just saying AI is good. You are saying AI solves this specific problem in this specific location. That specificity is what gets you the marks.
And to make all this happen, we need the right infrastructure. The survey talks about an Indie AI mission in paragraphs 14.37 to 14.40.
Yes. A core part of this is proposing a government-hosted, community-curated, code repository.
Like an Indian GitHub.
Think of it as an Indian GitHub for public good. India has one of the largest and most vibrant developer communities in the world. If we can get them all collaborating on open source solutions for Indian problems like that oral cancer app, we can innovate at incredible speed.
And that's how you move from being the IT back office
to the AI front office.
That shift from back office to front office is the recurring theme here, isn't it?
It's the central goal.
But to run a front office, you need the right people.
Hmm.
Let's talk about Section 4, Human Capital. The survey identifies a skill gap, but it's not what I expected. In paragraph 14.41, it talks about underground knowledge.
This is a fascinating concept, and it's so important. We usually think skilling means, learn Python or take a course in machine learning.
Right, the technical skills.
But the survey says we need this underground knowledge.
What does that even mean? Is it secret knowledge?
No, it's tacit knowledge. It's the intuition, the experience. It's the dark arts of how to actually build and fine-tune these models. It's the stuff that isn't written down in textbooks.
Can you give an example?
It's knowing exactly how to tweak the learning rate when your model starts hallucinating, or having a gut feeling for why a certain data set isn't training properly. It's the kind of skill you only learn by doing it, by failing and trying again hundreds of times.
So it's like the difference between reading a recipe for a cake and actually being a master baker who knows the oven runs a little hot and can feel when the dough is just right.
That is a perfect analogy. And because we are, frankly, late to the party on building these big frontier models, we don't have enough people who have been in the kitchen. We have millions of people who can use the software, but very, very few who can actually build the engine from scratch.
So how do we fix that? How do we build that expertise?
The solution the survey suggests is twofold. First, attracting the diaspora. There are many Indians who have been working at the cutting edge in U.S. AI labs, at OpenAI or DeepMind. We need to create pathways for them to return and share that knowledge.
And the second part?
Lateral entry from industry into academia. We need the people who are actually building this tech in companies to be teaching the next generation of students. Bridge that gap between theory and practice.
Speaking of academia, the survey mentions the Viksit Bharat Shiksha Bill, 2025.
Yes, this bill is mentioned as a key step for creating more flexibility in our higher education system. But what's really interesting is that the survey also points out that employers are changing what they want.
How so?
If you look at chart 4.8, it shows that employers now value things like engagement skills and self-efficacy over just rote technical skills.
So it's not just about what you know, but how you think and how you work with others.
They want problem solvers, not just coders. They want people who can take initiative.
But there is a very dark side to this whole education discussion. The survey issues a critical warning about students using Gen AI. This is in sections 14.57 to 14.59. It even cites Niall Ferguson and calls it the Great Brain Robbery.
This is a point that every single student listening to this needs to hear, especially if you're preparing for exams. The survey explicitly warns that if students just use ChatGPT to write their essays and do their thinking for them, it leads to cognitive atrophy.
Cognitive atrophy. That sounds terrifying. It's like your muscles wasting away because you don't use them.
That's exactly what it is. If you offload the entire process of thinking, of structuring an argument, of finding the right words, of synthesizing different sources, if you offload all that to an AI, you lose the ability to do it yourself.
You forget how to think critically.
You lose your analytical writing skills. If you just ask ChatGPT to summarize an article for you, you never learn how to actually read, understand, and synthesize information yourself.
There's a great line in there. Artificial intelligence should not come at the cost of human intelligence.
Precisely. And the survey warns this could permanently dent your employment prospects. If you can't think critically, you can't work in high-value jobs. The AI can do the basic stuff. The human value add, the thing that makes you employable, is the critical thinking. If you outsource that, you have effectively made yourself obsolete.
That is a chilling, chilling warning. However, there is a flip side here. The survey says the physical job market is actually safe.
This is the great irony of the AI revolution. It's something known as Moravec's paradox. We all thought that the robots would take the manual labor jobs first, the blue-collar jobs. But it turns out robots are really, really bad at plumbing.
Right.
They are bad at empathy. They are bad at elder care. They don't have the dexterity for intricate craft work.
So the hands-on jobs are safer, the ones that require a human touch.
Yes. The survey gives examples like nursing, geriatric care, culinary sciences, advanced metalwork. These jobs require physical presence, dexterity, and that uniquely human touch. So the suggestion is we need to respect and skill for these hands-on jobs much more.
We need to stop looking down on vocational skills.
Because in the AI age, those might be the most secure, well-paying jobs left.
And this connects to a PYQ, doesn't it? From 2020 GS1, question 20, which asked about how digital initiatives contribute to the education system.
Yes, and usually when aspirants write that answer, they only write about the positive, better access, online classes, democratization of learning.
Sure.
But a really nuanced answer using the survey data would also discuss the negatives. It would talk about the risk of cognitive atrophy. A balanced answer is what helps you score higher. You acknowledge the access, but you warn about the great brain robbery. That shows real critical analysis.
Let's move to the rules of the game. This is where it all comes together. Section 5, Governance and Data. The survey proposes creating an AI Economic Council. That's in box ACO 5.5. What is its job?
Its main job is to calibrate the pace of AI adoption in the country.
The pace.
The pace. And the core principle behind this is labor market sensitivity by design.
That sounds very bureaucratic. What does it mean in plain English?
Look, India is a labor-rich country. It's our biggest asset and our biggest challenge. We have millions of young people needing jobs every year.
Right.
We cannot blindly automate everything just because the technology exists. In the West, they have a labor shortage and an aging population, so for them, automation is great. Here, if we automate too fast in the wrong sectors, it could be a social disaster.
So the council's job is to act as a brake.
A smart brake. Its job is to say, wait, let's slow down automation in this specific sector until we can effectively reskill these people and create new jobs elsewhere. It's a managed transition.
That's a very protective approach. Almost paternalistic, but you're right, probably necessary given our demographics. Now let's talk about data. Data is the new oil, as they say. The survey calls it a strategic resource in paragraphs 14.61 to 14.67.
It's our gold mine. We have 100 crore billion connected users. The data we generate is immense, but the framework the survey proposes for managing it is very specific and very clever. It's called Trusted Cross-Border Flows while retaining domestic value.
That sounds like a mouthful. Unpack that for us.
It introduces a new concept called accountable portability.
Accountable portability.
Previously, the big debate was about data localization, forcing foreign companies to keep their servers physically located in India. The idea was you can't take our data out.
Which is expensive for the companies and very hard to enforce.
Exactly. It creates a lot of friction. The new idea is this. You can take the data out. You can process it in your data center in California, but you are accountable for it. And crucially, we need mirror copies for auditing purposes.
So you can process it there, but a copy must stay here so our regulators can check what you did with it.
Correct. It ensures we don't lose access to our own national data. And then comes the next part, the value retention model. This is brilliant.
Go on.
The idea is simple. If a foreign firm uses Indian health data to train a medical AI model that goes on to make billions of dollars globally, they must contribute back to the Indian ecosystem.
Like a royalty or a tax?
Sort of, but it's smarter than just cash. It's a menu approach. They don't necessarily have to write a check to the government. They can choose how to contribute.
What are the options on the menu?
They can choose to help train local Indian AI models. They can fund R&D in Indian universities. Or they can run massive programs to skill Indian workers in AI. It's a quid pro quo. You use our raw material, our data, so you have to help build our local ecosystem.
That is really smart. It leverages our market size. We are the market, so we get to set the terms of engagement. And what about regulating the firms themselves?
Transparency is the key lever here. The survey says you must publish your model documentation. You can't just say, oh, it's a magic black box, trust us.
And how do you enforce that?
The government uses its biggest leverage, procurement. If you want government contracts, which are huge in India, or if you want access to valuable public data sets for training, you must comply with these transparency rules.
This links perfectly to another PYQ from 2025 GS2, question 7. That question was about e-governance projects having a built-in bias towards technology and back-end integration rather than user-centric designs.
Exactly. The survey's focus on transparency-centered AI regulation addresses this exact problem. It pushes back against the black box nature of tech. It forces accountability. It demands that the technology serves the user and the citizen, not just the company's bottom line.
Okay, we've talked about the strategy, the people, the rules. Now we have to talk about the dangers. Section 6, AI safety and risks. The survey compares AI to nuclear energy.
Yes. And that is a very deliberate and sobering comparison in paragraph 14.81. It says AI needs constraining institutions, just like nuclear energy.
Meaning,
You don't just let anyone build a nuclear reactor in their backyard, right? Because the risk of failure is catastrophic for everyone. The argument is that truly powerful AI falls into the same category.
so what are the specific risks they're most worried about with AI?
The survey highlights three big ones. First, the transparency gap. Big tech essentially hides their safety evaluations. The survey cites a group called AI Lab Watch, which shows that these companies are grading their own homework.
The fox guarding the hen house.
They say our model is safe, but they won't show you the test results or let independent auditors verify it.
Okay, what's the second risk?
Second is biorisk, and this is genuinely terrifying. It's the convergence of AI with synthetic biology.
Right.
You can buy CRISPR gene editing kits online now for a few $100s. The fear is that a bad actor could use a powerful AI model to figure out how to engineer a dangerous pathogen using these cheap, accessible kits.
So the AI provides the instructions, and the cheap biology kit lets you build the virus. That is the stuff of nightmares.
It is a serious concern. And the third one is a bit more subtle, but maybe even more dangerous in the long run. Social sycophancy.
Fancy, you mean like being a yes man, a flatterer.
Exactly. AI models are trained using something called reinforcement learning from human feedback, or RLHF. Basically, humans rate the AI's answers as good or bad.
Right.
But humans have a bias. We like to be agreed with. So over time, the models learn that the best way to get a good rating is to be helpful, polite, and to agree with the user's premise.
So if I say something that's factually wrong or ethically dubious, the AI might just validate me to keep me happy and engaged.
Yes, it creates an echo chamber of one. If a user has a harmful or incorrect idea, the AI can end up reinforcing it. This erodes critical thinking and can polarize society on a massive scale.
So the AI tells you what you want to hear, not necessarily what is true. That's incredibly dangerous for a democracy.
It is.
So we need a shield. The survey proposes an AI Safety Institute. This is in section 14.86.
Yes, we need our own sovereign institute to conduct red teaming.
Red teaming. What's that?
It's a military term, originally. It means you hire a team to play the role of the enemy, to attack your own defenses and find the weaknesses before the real enemy does.
So for AI?
It means hiring hackers and ethicists and other experts to actively try to break the model before it's released to the public. Try to make it generate hate speech. Try to make it reveal dangerous information. Try to get it to build a bomb. You find the flaws before the public does.
And we would do this alone.
No, the survey is clear on this. We can't. We need to partner with the UK and US safety institutes who are already working on this. International cooperation is key.
But there are some red lines, right? Some things that are just too dangerous to even regulate.
Yes. The survey suggests banning certain applications entirely. No negotiation.
For instance,
Like predictive policing.
Minority Report style. Predicting crimes before they happen.
Exactly. It's notoriously biased and a threat to civil liberties. Another one is emotion inference.
Emotion inference. What's that?
AI that claims to be able to guess if you're angry or happy or lying just by analyzing your face on a video camera. It's largely pseudoscience, it's often racially biased, and it's a massive violation of rights. The survey says, ban it. Don't try to regulate it, just ban it outright.
This brings us back to public ethics. There was a question in 2016 GS2, question 12, about the decline of public morality.
Yes.
And this seems to fit right in.
AI safety is the new frontier of public morality and ethical governance. Determining what an AI is allowed to do, whether it can spy on your emotions or validate your prejudices, or be used to predict your behavior, is a deeply moral question for society to answer.
Okay, finally, let's look at the road ahead. Section 7, the roadmap. How do we actually get from here to there?
It has to be a phased approach. This is outlined in sections 1490 to 1495. You can't do it all at once.
So what's phase 1?
Phase 1 is coordination. Get the NDAI mission up and running. Build that shared code repository we talked about. Get the data standards and frameworks ready. It's about laying the foundation.
And after that?
Phase 2 is selective scaling. This is where you formalize the regulations based on risk levels. You start funding and building those specialized small models for healthcare and agriculture. You start seeing the real-world impact.
And the long-term goal.
The long-term goal is resilience, reducing our vulnerability to external shocks like global chip shortages or geopolitical tensions over hardware. It's about building a self-sustaining ecosystem.
And the conclusion of the chapter offers a little bit of hope. It talks about the late mover advantage.
We often think being late to something is bad. Oh no, we missed the start of the race. But in technology, sometimes being a late mover is a huge advantage.
How so? The second mouse gets the
The
cheese.
second mouse gets the cheese. Exactly. The West rushed ahead and made mistakes. They built these incredibly energy-guzzling, privacy-violating models. They broke things and moved fast.
And we get to learn from that.
We get to learn from their mistakes. We can build a system that is energy efficient from day one. We can build in privacy and safety from the ground up, rather than trying to bolt it on as an afterthought.
But the final message is one of urgency. Passive consumption is the riskiest path. We must act.
That is the final thought. We cannot just sit back and be consumers. That is the one path that guarantees we lose.
This reminds me of one last PYQ from 2013 GS2, question 6. India needs to strengthen measures to promote revolution.
Right. And we always think of the green revolution for food or the pink revolution for meat. Now, the survey is essentially calling for a responsible AI revolution.
A new kind of revolution for a new era.
It's the next great leap for the Indian state and for our economy.
Wow. So to recap for everyone listening, India's path, as laid out in the economic survey, is unique. It's bottom-up, not top-down.
Right.
It's application-focused, solving real problems like cancer screening, not just writing poems. It's human-centric. It's about protecting jobs and protecting our brains from atrophy. And it's safety-conscious from the very beginning.
We aren't trying to be the U.S. We're trying to be a smarter India.
A smarter India. I love that.
And for our listeners, especially the aspirants, remember this. When you write your mains answers, don't just say AI is good. Use these specific terms from the survey. A bottom-up strategy, accountable portability, cognitive atrophy, value retention model.
That's how you show you've done the reading.
That is how you show you understand the deep policy thinking. That is how you get those extra marks.
This has been an absolutely incredible deep dive. If this episode helped you understand the future of India's economy and maybe helped you prep for those exams, please subscribe and hit that join button if you are capable of supporting us. We would really, really appreciate it.
And a special heartfelt thanks to our Legend members on YouTube. You are the ones who truly make this possible.
Don't forget, free notes are on Telegram. And for our Legend members, the premium content and those valuable model mains answers are waiting for you on Discord. This has been Simplified UPSC by PPP. Keep learning and keep questioning.
See you next time.